This operates as a dual campus system. This is the #1 educational channel in Asia. It provides the first ever preschool education in Asia and also the #1 channel for school education in Asia. BP Education IT Campus holds the top position across all of Asia. By the time Project 325 is completed, you will be in a position where, even though you are young, you will be able to take up a job. Additionally, we have fully established Pirivan for the monks. We have set up smart classrooms in 400 Pirivans. Though we provide a fully equipped smart classroom to schools, the system that keeps it running is DP Education. If the system exists, it's impossible to bring legal medicines or make underhand deals, and once something is blacklisted, it cannot be brought in. My belief is that we want to uplift the country, we need to uplift the village. The most intense pain in the world comes from hunger, especially when you are recovering from an illness. These monks have dedicated their entire lives to serving the people of this country. Today is a truly joyful occasion because such a large crowd has gathered in an area like this. How did this crowd come together? It's because there are beautiful sons and daughters here who are intelligent and dedicated to their education, and that's why a celebration like this is possible in the region. BP Education IT Campus isn't just an ordinary campus. We keep it open for 16 hours, and as far as I know, no campus in the world operates for that many hours. Typically, campuses close within 6 to 8 hours. But we've shown that we can run 2 campuses from one. That's why so many people are gathered here today. So first, let me talk about this campus. It has been brought to life by our venerable monks. We have often heard in Jataka stories about giving the gift of sight, the gift of blood, and the gift of hair. But the venerable monks here have dedicated their entire lives to us. Throughout their lifetime, they have given all they have for the people of this country. However, I have never heard of anyone dedicating their whole life in the way these monks have. So once again, I express my deep gratitude to the venerable monks who have tirelessly worked for us for the upliftment of society. Because sometimes, due to the misinterpretation of a single monk's name or teachings, the entire society has been led astray by wrong ideas. Therefore, I say to everyone here today that our Honorable Sangha has sacrificed their entire lives for us, giving everything they have to us. We need to understand this a little. We have neither been taught to think like this nor been accustomed to such thoughts. Therefore, I once again offer my sincere thanks to the venerable monks for coming here. Now, as you can see, sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, BP Education is the #1 educational channel in Asia. How did this educational channel come to be? It provides the first ever preschool education in Asia and the #1 channel for school education in Asia. In addition to that, BP Education IT Campus, which teaches IT, holds the top spot across all of Asia. Then think about how we end up in poverty when we have 3 such channels: Japan, Singapore, Malaysia and Korea. We have better channels, we have better educational channels than all of these countries. Why? Because not a single cent of income comes to our DP Education Foundation from this. Have you ever seen any advertisement in any of the videos on YouTube? None of that happens. We have halted all of that and operate this as a private channel. Then if we want to build a prosperous village, it's actually quite easy because we have already laid the foundation for it. Some people may think that such a program can be built in a day, but it can't be done that way. Back in 2012, I built the first Mahindodaya laboratory with my own money and donated it to the government. I planned it with 40 computers. Why 40? Because how can 40 students in a class learn if there aren't 40 computers? I have seen schools with 6 computers, 10 computers. How can 40 students learn with just 10 computers? It's not possible. That's why we built those Mahindodaya laboratories. We made sure to install 40 computers, but when I donated it with my own funds, I noticed that my name was engraved on a black stone saying it was donated by Mr. Dhammika Perera. I knew that if it was labeled as my personal donation, it would stop there. So I contacted the President's Secretariat and asked them to change that black stone and show this as government work. That's how those 1,000 laboratories were built all over Sri Lanka. But although everything was planned and executed during President Mahinda Rajapaksa's time, the Ministry of Education could not create the necessary programs for it. Even after 12 years, they still have not been able to do it. The fiber network is still being installed. But I already said 2 years ago, when we launched this DP Education IT campus, that it should be incorporated into school education. However, even now, they think this is a private thing. That's the mentality. They think it can't be incorporated into government systems. And I understand that mindset. That's why I removed my name from that black stone back then. But if they had used those 1,000 laboratories to teach, just imagine how much better things would be now. After seeing the crowd today, just imagine what it would have been if all the 1,000 labs were used to teach. These are the children of 4 of our IT campuses who have been taught by 130. But even if it is full, I think there are mostly students from Buttala DP Education IT campus. Nobody becomes rich other than from education. Even when I went to university, I was running businesses. When I was at Moratuwa University, I owned a hotel at the turn of the street named Visaka. I was only 19 years old at the time. You can start a business at a young age, but I had a background. I was born in a private hospital, which back then was called a nursing home, not like today's hospitals. I had the financial means because of my environment, but today's children don't have that kind of money to start a business. However, you don't need money to start a business from a computer. That's why, even though we talk about creating 100,000 jobs, if we can start 10,000 businesses in computer programming, those kids will in turn create another 100,000 jobs. That's why today in Buttala, these children who are studying know it. They come to study as early as 6 in the morning and some stay till 10 at night to study. However, Buttala never started education at 6 in the morning. Still, some programs at the DP Education IT campus might need to be explained to parents so they understand what their children are doing. Coding is essentially a language for communicating with computers. Now, these children are communicating with computers. Completing 32 projects means they have learned to do those projects from us, and we have given them another 32 advanced projects as homework. They complete those too. In total, they work on about 100 projects worth about $1 million. So a child who finishes these projects has absorbed knowledge equivalent to 2 million in value. Let me ask, who here is learning computer programming for the first time? Raise your hand if this is the first time you learned to program a computer. Those of you who raised your hands, is this the first time you have learned about computers? Or have you learned about computers from somewhere else before? What I mean is that these kids are not learning from scratch. So now, those who can raise their hands and program a computer after learning is available. But can everyone really do it? Everyone who is here seems to be like that. It's visible that those kids can now talk to a computer. They are currently working on projects. However, after project 325, they've reached a point where they can at least do simple tasks. This means that there is a program called WordPress, one of the best in the world, where you can create a website and improve it to make it one of the best in the world. That is after completing these programs. Then we didn't stop there. We partnered with Moratuwa University to create a course for full-stack developers. This won the first place in the world in 2022. Not just in Asia, but the first place in the world was won by this full-stack developer course. After completing Project 325, they can go to Moratuwa University. Lecturers in the Moratuwa University are teaching students in Buttala via radio technology. After that, they can also go to Kelaniya University. This ERP system is what you hear people talking about now, whether it's government or private. This system is designed to stop thefts after creating a system that can help prevent theft. If there are systems like that, it won't be easy to steal medication. You can't get it cheaply after being blacklisted. However, Without such a system, we all tend to think that if we trust our friend, they won't steal. You can't trust such people to run countries. Other countries have created systems like this. So if you want to learn about that system, you can do so at Kelaniya University. Next, we are collaborating with Ruhuna University to teach subjects like data science and artificial intelligence separately. After completing Project 325, you can enroll in 3 universities. Now you all understand how valuable the platform we've created is. Do you all know that the certificates given to the kids who come here are worth millions? Now honestly, if the parents of these kids could raise their hands to say whether their child has changed or not, that would be great. That means every child's parent can tell that their child's way of thinking has changed. The reason I'm saying this is because the hopes and dreams of the poor are all resolved through the projects we've created. Because after that, a child can learn to work, meaning they can work. Generally, education in schools involves a teacher teaching us. However, in this case, it's not like that. Here, one learns without a teacher. Have you ever seen someone bring a book to the BP Education IT campus? No, because you can't learn to ride a bicycle from a book. You need to get on a bicycle and try it out. After a few days, you'll be able to ride it. So in this way, parents have realized that no children brings a book to come here. This is how everyone remembers. There is no need to go back to studying again. Once you can ride a bicycle, you don't go home to learn to ride a bicycle again. So this is the only system in the world that is taught from the best system in America. Now, can you imagine if something like this could be given for free to kids in a place like Buttala? Now, truly, after completing Project 325 from either Moroto University or Kelaniya University or Ruhuna University, no child will be poor again. Now, all of these are rich children. Now we need to see whether the next step is for parents to become wealthy or to allow their children to grow up. But now, young children are coming here. There are young children who have reached a level where they are working in Buttala. Let's see if 100 software developers are around Buttala, or if there's any office anywhere. There's none. But I think that in about 2 months, there will be offices where software engineers will work in Buttala town. However, for the past 76 years, no one has been able to do this. Because when I started a business, I was only 19 years old. Today, I am 56. For the past 37 years, I have been in business and have never thought about Sri Lanka. I believe I live in the world. Some people say that according to Buddhist principles, one should learn from a central perspective. Yes, I say that too. If you look at someone like Elon Musk, a poor guy, he too is at the center of perspective. When it comes to being rich from Sri Lanka, one gets stuck at the central perspective when viewed globally. That's how we think. If one wants to, they can think that I will become a rich person in my village. Next, I can think about becoming a rich person in the district or in Sri Lanka. But it's not just that. We live in the whole world. So if we think like that, all these poor ideas will go away. So I repeat, parents should not be afraid of anything anywhere. Because the real mental issues are what parents have next. Because they see that none of their kids around them are going to work in an office. They're taking a computer. After marrying, the child stays home, but they're doing some tasks at home. Because now, even if our child becomes an IT software engineer, after working for about 3 years, if they marry and have a child, that company allows them to work from home. Because they've worked for 3 years, the child is working, which is known. So the only thing needed is the internet facility to work from home with a computer. Because of that, especially if these daughters want to work in the future, they will not be able to survive by working only one for the family. This is something common for the world. In Sri Lanka, many mothers still don't work. But in the future, for living and for prosperity, this is necessary. Now, I've talked about how we've achieved the best in Asia. But next, I will say what we've done to make the country prosperous. That means to make a country prosperous. I believe it's necessary to make the village prosperous. There are two types of work. One is what the government must do. The other is what the people must work hard for. Now, when we talk about a house, there are parents, there are children, sometimes a relative is in their house or their parents are there in the house. So all these people need to be rich for a house to be rich. So I think that this is a rich village. Now we are thinking about how to build this prosperous village and had created the necessary things for it. If I must say, the notion of a prosperous village is fundamentally a government responsibility. No person in the country should go without food. That is the primary concern. At the same time, every village has a place of worship. Most of them are temples and some have Catholic churches or Muslim mosques. However, in such places, we shouldn't have people going hungry. After the country develops, there shouldn't be any of that. But at this time, we can open a community kitchen. If we open a community kitchen and provide around 10,000 rupees a day, that means if the government spends about 300,000 rupees a month, the poor people in that village will be able to eat from there. After eating, what happens is that if there's no food, this hunger becomes a major issue. In fact, the greatest pain in the world is hunger when there's nothing to eat. So we have seen in the newspapers and on the radio that some fathers are killing themselves because there is no way to feed the children. Mothers jump in rivers. But in such situations, people are not at peace. During that time, we can build a community kitchen at such a location. But it is essential to ensure that these people are comfortable from the beginning. After it is established, we have preschool education that provides early childhood education. However, do they know that children's brains develop in accordance with the heat until about the age of 5? After that age, only about 10% of their development occurs. Therefore, until the age of 5, how do we provide these children with preschool education? In reality, early childhood education is the most fundamental thing. So if we don't look at the root of the tree until the brain develops according to age, we will find that the results beyond that point are low. Therefore, if we are going to build that, we just need to upgrade the preschool system with a smart classroom. Sri Lanka needs about 30,000 preschools. I have built about 1,000 preschools around 2017 and 2018. They have also been established in the Bonaragala district. They have been built in other districts as well. In 2017 and 2018, I constructed about 1,000 preschools. We built them and we went to DP Education to see how and from where we should start. We talked with the teachers and with the parents to come to that conclusion. After that, we established the school education system. If we don't go to tuition classes and if we set up about 5 smart classrooms in a temple, we can tell that school education will allow those who need to learn appropriately. After that, if we provide about 50 resources in this IT sector for my village, the money that comes from these resources will flow into the village. Now the people in Buttala were residing in Colombo and doing these jobs. After paying for accommodation, for food and for bus travel, there will be no saving from your salary. That's why it has become impossible for anyone to go to Colombo and survive. Those who go to Colombo see that they don't return. However, when they return to the village, there is no situation to spend money. That's because the little money is insufficient to live in Colombo. So we have established preschool education. We have developed school education. We have also created a DP Education IT campus where we can provide resources through IT. After that, if these young boys want to go abroad for resources, they must know at least one language. They need to learn English, Japanese, Korean, Italian and Chinese. We have gathered all of this to create a language school. I have a dream to preach Dharma internationally and to establish a Buddhist monastery and create 5,000 monks. Therefore, to preach Dharma internationally, after teaching these languages, I will discuss with the monks how to teach the remaining parts of the Dhamma. This means we need to learn the language first, and then we need to teach the Dhamma in that language. I am also developing that. At the same time, we have completely established Peruvian education for the monks. We have established 400 smart classrooms at Peruvian for the monks. There are also 400 additional classrooms that do not have rooms, which means the teachings are held in the Dharma hall. Dhamma hall is an open place. Now there are only 400 classrooms available. However, there are still 400 additional classrooms in the Dharma hall, which means this education for monks is being maintained in an open place. I am currently developing a steel cabinet to prevent theft, as it needs to be a steel cabinet that cannot be stolen. Sometimes there is moisture, so it needs to be waterproof as well. Now, as I develop that, I cannot get 400 more for monk education. Because even if a smart classroom is provided to that school, the students still need to go to DP education. Because there is no use of a smart classroom if the DP education system is not being utilized. What's inside doesn't work at all. I have established smart classrooms in 675 schools as of today. We have set up a total of 1075 smart classrooms in Sri Lanka. All 1075 of these have a system for monk education. The other thing, school education is being managed through DP education. So now I have mentioned the Prosperity Village, and after that there is monk education available. The monks can learn different languages from our language school. After that, for physical health, we have created a program called DP Education Sports. Now, are the kids here playing cricket? Let's see if they can raise their hands. Now the children can go to the sports channel of DP Education and completely learn how to play cricket. I was a fast bowler back in those days, but I didn't have such an education. If we had been taught how to play like this, I believe I could have joined a cricket team too. That's why we have launched a cricket channel under DP Education related to physical health. Those of you who like to play volleyball, please raise your hands. For those interested in playing volleyball, we will teach volleyball. For those running 100, 200 and 400 meters, Mrs. Susantika Jaisinghe teaches them. For high jumpers, they are taught high jumping techniques. For those who need to run long distances, they are taught how to run long distances. However, with the current technology, after creating a video like this, it is possible to do all of these things in Sri Lanka. Because sometimes, even coaches who teach cricket say that some people tell us that they can play cricket well, but we don't know these techniques. So now, let's consider the rich village, which is entirely under government responsibility. If someone says we need to grow long beans, we can plant long beans for the whole village. But it has to be from the same seed variety, because if the entire village has brinjal from one variety, it will work well. After that, we need to transport about 2 tons to Colombo by truck. In that case, we need to grow 2 tons in the village. That means we cannot grow in one village. If we take it like the Samurdhi Bank zones, we have clusters of villages below. Then we can grow into those zones and transport 2 tons of long beans to Colombo. However, we need a system to establish all of this. There should be a minimum price for it. Fertilizers should also be available. So with this approach, we can create a prosperous village. However, we cannot do this alone as we did in the past, because the entire village needs to come together. Only if the village is united can we achieve the goals, just like how the villagers work together. For that, the blessings of the monks are also necessary. In the past, even if someone had a problem, they would run to the temple. Even if there was an issue at home, they would go to the temple. We need to recreate that kind of environment. These days, I am discussing with mental health professionals to find answers to the problems families face, as such as why they are in pain. That's why I am now asking the parents here to send me an envelope, but without mentioning the name, age or whether they are male or female. I ask everyone at home to write down the problems that are troubling them in their hearts. They can write those problems on a piece of paper, put it in the envelope and submit it to our campus without writing their names. Because the mental health professionals I'm talking with say that we can solve problems from these issues. So I think we can implement this program, which is family counseling and mental health, just like it is happening around the world. However, it should not be a paid service. To avoid that, we can set this up in schools and advice from monks or help them with it. So I request everyone here today, especially the parents, to go home and write down just one basic problem they have. If a mother has a problem, she should write it in a separate piece of paper. The father should do the same for his problems. If there are any other adults at home, they should also write down their problems. Children should write down their problems separately. Sometimes we need to tell parents how to take care of their children, because the children today haven't learned that properly. No one teaches them. That's why we need to get involved in this work. We can do that as well. However, I hope that everyone will write down their most basic problems. I believe that if we can solve those problems, everyone will be happier. I also hope we can address these mental health issues in the future. I think we can do this through the temple's guidance because this has happened at the temple before. That's how people used to rush to the temple whenever they had a problem. But now that tradition is fading away. But I want to revive that old culture, because only when the temple and the village come together can we strengthen our culture in this way. Otherwise, it will take a long time for people to think individually. But if we combine temples, kovils and churches, we won't take long to establish this. I believe you all understand what I've discussed well. But please remember to collect the certificates for the children. They should come here to receive certificates from Moratuwa University, Kalanyu University or Ruhume University. Some people might think that after getting certificates, they don't need to participate in this program anymore. But that's not the case. So I think I should encourage everyone to motivate the children to participate in this way until they come back there. I wish everyone the best in this endeavor.